So good day everyone. This is our lesson for today, differentiation of trigonometric functions. So we are done with the differentiation of algebraic and you have also solved some applications of them. So pagdating sa trigonometric functions, you're just going to be familiar with the different ways on how to differentiate the 6 trigonometric functions. So we have the 6 trigonometric functions, namely sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. So I will be giving you 4 techniques on how to remember them and be familiar with them without really memorizing. So first one is, take note that if the trigonometric function starts with the letter C, its derivative is negative. So for example, cosine starts with C, so its derivative is negative sine. Second is the cosecant, and last one is the cotangent. So that's the first one. If it starts with the letter C, its derivative is a negative value. Next is number 2, is you have to remember the pairings when it comes to the trigonometric functions. The first pair is the sine and cosine. So you can see, number 2 is the tangent and secant. Tangent, secant, then secant, tangent. And the last pair is cosecant and cotangent. Yon. So again, the pairs that you're going to remember is sine, cosine, tangent, secant, and cosecant and cotangent. Number 3 technique is, if you have the word tan or tangent, the derivative is a squared. So like say for example, this tangent, yung partner niya kanina na secant, and then naka-square siya. Same with the cotangent, it has tan or tangent. So, diba, nag-start siya sa letter C, so negative yon. Then, ang partner niya is cosecant, and then may tan siya, so that is squared. So, again, if you have a tangent or tan, its derivative has a square. And the last one is, kapag naman meron siyang secant, ang derivative naman niya is itself, then multiplied by its partner. So, let's say for example, this secant, so its derivative is itself, secant, and then its partner, which is tangent. So for cosecant naman, since it starts with letter C, it's negative, and then itself, cosecant, and then yung partner niya, which is cotangent x. So again, if it has secant, ang kanyang derivative is itself multiplied by its partner. So, those are the 4 techniques that you can use in order for you to be familiar and to remember what are the differentiation of these 6 trigonometric functions. Number 1, again, if it starts with letter C, its derivative is negative. Number 2, remember the pairing, sine and cosine, tangent and secant, and cosecant and cotangent. Number 3, if it has tangent, its derivative has squared, such as this one and this one. And for the last one, if it has secant, its derivative is itself multiplied by its partner, such as this one and this one. Okay, so let us try this one. Find the derivative of y is equal to 2 cosine x minus 6 secant x plus 3. So as you can observe, our given is 1, 2, 3, a trinomial na meron siyang separated by subtraction and addition. So, ibig sabihin, gagamitin lang natin dito yung sum and or difference na rule na iisa-isahin lang natin sa i-derive. So, for this one, this is a product ng 2 at saka ng cosine x. Pero yung pinaka-shortcut niya is you just have to write the constant and then what is the derivative of cosine x. So the derivative of cosine x, if you can still remember, starts with a C, so that's a negative. And then ano yung partner ng cosine? That's sine x. So this is the derivative for the first term. For the second term, ganun din, kunin nyo muna yung constant which is 6 And then, i-multiply natin siya sa derivative ng secant x. So, if you can still remember, kapag meron siyang secant na word, ang kanyang derivative is itself. So, that is secant x. And its partner, multiply by its partner, which is tangent x. And then, so this is the derivative for the second term. At sa last term, derivative ng 3, which is already 0 because this is a constant. So, based on that, you're just going to simplify. So, negative 2 times negative sine x is negative 2 sine x. Then, minus, you just multiply 6 with secant x tan x plus 0. So, pwede na natin hindi ilagay yung 0. And that's our derivative. So, pwede na yan. Pero if you want it to be factored with a negative 1, kasi para silang negative, pwede din siya na ganito. Plus 6 secant x tan. So, it's either of the two. Pwedeng ito na. Simplified form is this one when you factored it with a negative 1. So, ulitin lang natin. In this example, 2 cosine x minus 6 secant x plus 3, since trinomial siya, separated by subtraction and addition, you're just going to get a derivative per each term. So, itong una, 2, kapag actually this is multiplication or product, pero ang shortcut dyan, kunin nyo na lang yung constant, so that's 2. Then derivative ng cosine starts with letter C, so that's a negative. Then partner ng cosine is sine. So that's for the first term. For the second term, again, get the constant and then derivative ng secant. Again, ang derivative ng secant is itself multiplied by its partner, which is tangent. Then, that's the derivative for the second term. For the third term, derivative ng 3, constant, that is already 0. Then, simplify nyo na lang, multiply lang to, so that's negative 2 sine x. Then, you just multiply 6 with the whole term, so that's negative 6 secant x tan x. And I just factor it with negative 1. So, ito yung ating answer. So, next example tayo is again finding the derivatives of a trigonometric function. Let's say we have y is equal to 10 tangent x minus 2 cotangent x. So, again, this is a binomial kasi separated siya ng subtraction. So, kunin nyo lang ulit yung derivatives ng bawat isa. So, again, the shortcut is get the constant, 10. Then, what's the derivative of tangent? So, again, if you can still remember, the derivative of the tangent, kapag may tangent siya, ay squared, naka-square. So, ano bang partner ng tangent? So, that is secant. Then, you have to square it, x. So, that's for the first term. Then, minus 2. What's the derivative of cotangent? Starts with the letter C, so it's a negative. And it has a tangent, so dapat squared yung kanyang sagot. Ano nga po ang partner ng cotangent? That is cosecant. And you have to square it because it has tangent, the word tangent, then x. So you just simplify this, copy lang the first term. Then negative 2 times negative cosecant squared x is positive. Then 2 cosecant squared x. So that is our derivative of this problem. Okay, third example is finding the derivative of y is equal to tangent x secant x. So as you can see, isang term lang siya, tapos hindi siya sineseparate ng addition or subtraction, meaning ito ay multiplication, and you're going to use the product rule. So applicable pa rin siya gamitan ng product rule. So, your u is tangent x and your v is secant x. So, du nyo is derivative ng tangent, which is secant squared x. And ang derivative naman ng secant x nyo is secant x tangent x. So you just follow the formula, which is, if you can still remember, u dv plus v du. So that is, substitute nyo lang again, tangent x times this one, dv secant x tangent x plus v du, which is secant squared x. So after you substitute to the formula of the product rule, so multiply nyo na lang sila. So that is, this will become secant x, then tangent squared x, since dalawa yung tangent natin. And then here, so secant x times secant squared x is secant cube x. Okay? So, this could be your answer na, but in, if you're going to arrange it according to degree, so ganito po yung, unahin natin yung cube. And then, we're going to have the second term, which is this one. So, that would be our answer for this example. Okay, last example natin sa trigonometric is, if in case maka-encounter kayo ng ganito, may numerical coefficient greater than 1 yung ating u here. So, ano yung gagawin nyo? So, same process, kunin yung constant muna. And then, get the derivative of tangent 3x. So, the derivative is, di ba, secant squared. So, kukunin nyo yung 3x pa rin. Then, ang pinagkaiba lang, mumultiply nyo pa rin siya sa derivative nito, which is 3. So, that's why its derivative when we simplify is negative 2 times 3 is negative 6 secant squared 3x. So, ulitin natin, kapag meron ganito, same process kayo, diretso lang kayo, negative 2, then derivative ng tangent x, diba, is secant. So, secant squared. Then, copy nyo lang to kung anong nandito. Kahit pa yun ay 100, di 100 lang kakopy nyo. So, in this case, this is 3. So, 3x. Then, hindi pa siya tapos. Multiply nyo pa siya doon sa derivative ng 3x, which is 3. So, that's why we have negative 2 here. Then, constant 3. So, multiply nyo yon, negative 6. And then, just copy this one. That's the answer.